Hey everyone, in today's video I want to show you a new robot lawnmower that I got, the Neomow X by Hookii. Unlike previous robot mowers, it does not use boundary wires. There's no RTK station to set up. It uses a LiDAR sensor or a spinning laser on it for mapping and for location accuracy. It can cut up to 1 acre, and they even have a different model that'll cut up to 1.5 acres. How well does this mower work cutting my yard? Is this the future of lawn cutting? Spoiler alert, it's pretty cool. Find out up next. My name is Jeff, and in today's video I want to show you guys this really cool robot lawnmower by Hookii. This is the Neomow X, and this, for full disclosure, was sent to me by Hookii for my testing and so that I can do a review video for you guys. I have had previous robot lawnmowers, and so getting a chance to check this one out has been a treat. If you're in the market for maybe a robot lawnmower that's gonna cut your grass, maybe save you some time, this might be the mower for you. Okay, just got the Hookii Neomow X. Let's unbox this thing. So we've got our quick start guide, our accessories kit, power adapter, user manual. Oh, look at that thing. This thing is huge. And then we have our charging station. So I want to give you a feel for how big this thing is. It's measuring right around 28 inches in length. We're right around 10.5 inches in height. Quick look at the charging station. Pigtail for power coming out right here. You can see the grooves for tracks here, as well as these areas here that kind of pop up. Also holes on this for putting ground stakes in. Got our power adapter, one end with the pigtail on it going into the other pigtail coming out of the station. And then we have our AC plug. And then just a closer look at our accessories kit. Everything included, we have some adhesive, some tools for cleaning, there's a scraper, there's a brush in here. We've got some ground stakes, and on this side we have some spare blades. So in taking a look at Hookii, he has 3 different main features that help him navigate and avoid obstacles. First is the LiDAR SLAM technology system. That's going to be this dome right up top here, and it's essentially a spinning laser that helps it know its location. In addition to that, on the front down here is actually a camera, and you can actually see the camera mounted on the front. That helps it see where it's going. There's also a bumper here in the front as well that gets pushed in if it were to run into anything. You can see it's evening here now, and the lights on the front of this that say Hookii are definitely very bright and apparent, and right now they're blue, which signifies that Hookii would be in mowing mode. When he backs up to the charger and begins charging, this light is going to turn green, and then if for some reason it were to get stuck, essentially what would happen then is this would turn red, letting me know that there's some sort of an error. Also on the front of this are these 2 little dots. These are actually the rain sensors, and if you've got this thing ready to go out and cut and it starts raining, it actually uses these to gauge whether it's safe enough or whether it's effective enough to be cutting in the rain, or if it's not. Now by default in the app, the settings are set where this mower would not cut in the rain, and they actually recommend you don't cut with it in the rain because the grass can build up, the wet grass gets stuck underneath, and the effectiveness of the cutting is not going to work as well. Now I've had this thing running early in the morning when there's dew on the grass. I've found that it actually cuts just fine. We've also had some light rain, and from my use in having this thing cut, it actually was still cutting just fine. I think they're talking more about maybe medium to heavy rainfall. So if we spin Hookii around, you'll see here that we've got our control panel on the top, and essentially we've got our power button. When the thing is powered on, you get the green light, and then you've got a grass icon, which would be your mowing button, and then you've got a home button. And essentially to initiate these, you would just go ahead and press 1 and go ahead and hit OK. You've also got an emergency stop button here. If for some reason you needed to stop it while it was mowing, you could hit that button. The thing is smart enough to charge itself when it feels that the battery has gotten down to like 15%, and there's 2 charging contacts on the back. These are what make connection with the little posts that stick out of the charging station to charge this guy back up. I also want to show you a closer look at the wheels. So this thing has front wheel drive, the 2 front wheels that are on it. And I want to show you a little bit closer here the spikes on these wheels. We've got some huge spikes on these wheels which help it navigate some of the hills. I've got some small hills on some of the landscaping of my yard, as well as going up and down and just trudging through some of the lower areas in my yard. These spikes help it dig in and get its traction. On the back, we have the omnidirectional wheels. These are not motorized like the front wheels. They simply just turn in any direction and follow whatever direction the mower is going. Down here, we've actually got our cutting blades, and these blades actually spin out of this wheel as it turns. There's 5 different blades on here. And then when they get dull after cutting for a couple of weeks or a month, you can check them occasionally to go ahead and change them out. There's just 1 screw that holds each one of them in. A very simple maintenance project. Probably took me 10 minutes or less to just switch those out. When the blades get dull, you switch them with new ones that are sharp, and then you're ready to go. Mounting of the charging station is quick and simple. Essentially, you want to find a flat and open area. I actually mounted mine on the side of my garage, and you fasten the charging station to the ground using these ground screws. With an Allen wrench, you can easily just screw those in. You want to make sure there's clearance on the left and the right side of the charging station, as well as in front of it, so that the mower's got a clear path that it can come back and recharge when it needs to, as well as head out from the charging station. Once you've got the charging station mounted, there's just 1 power plug that you plug in to give it power, and your charging station's ready to go. And real quick, as I do in all the videos on this channel, I've hidden Tinker. Tinker is our little hidden robot who briefly pops up in all the videos on this channel. He's gonna briefly pop up during this video. If you are the first person to spot him, take note of the timestamp. That's the amount of time into this video when Tinker pops up. Be the first person to let me know that timestamp, as well as your best comment down in the comment section below, and I might give you a shout out in one of my future videos and even add your name to our Tinker Forward Hall of Fame page. Setup is very quick and easy, so you're going to download and install the Neomow app, and then you would register for a free account. This takes just a few minutes, and then once you've done that, you can connect to the mower using the prompts in the app. So ways you can connect to the mower: you can use Bluetooth, you can use Wi-Fi, or you can use 4G to connect to the mower. Now, when I received the mower, it had a little bit of battery charge to it, but ideally, just like with any electronic device with a battery in it, before you start really using the thing, they recommend that you fully charge the thing up. It also is smart enough where it will auto recharge, and it can back itself up into the charging station, so it monitors its cutting, and when it gets down to like 15%, it sends itself back automatically to the charging station, charges itself back up, and it's smart enough to pick back up where it left off if it was cutting one of the zones in your yard. So this mower will go out, it'll cut for up to 2 hours on a full battery charge, and then, like I said, it's smart enough to come back to its charging unit. It'll charge itself up from 0 all the way up to a full battery. Can take up to 3 hours, but from just my testing, it doesn't seem like it's taking quite that long to charge back up. Now, a lot of times it's not cutting until the battery is all the way down at 0. A lot of times it will head back when it gets to like 20 or 15%. So that also reduces the amount of time for charging. And then a lot of times it'll even tell me in the app, it'll say when the battery reaches 80%, it'll go back out and continue or resume from wherever it was cutting if it needed to go back and recharge. So when you're starting out with your mower, essentially the first time you're going to be having it cut your lawn, you need to map out the cutting areas. What I would recommend is you can do your entire yard as one giant map, but what I found was a lot easier was just to map sections of my yard. I've got a fairly large yard. just under an acre, both in our fairly large front yard with a driveway and then our backyard. And it can definitely do the entire area, but what's cool is you can map out virtually as many zones or mowing areas as you want. So for me, from a time perspective, it was a lot quicker for me to just map out different sections of my yard. So half of my front yard and then mapping out another half of my front yard. And then when you close the boundary or close the perimeter of mapping out that zone, it saves that and allows you to name it whatever you want. So in my instance, I gave one zone, I said my front north part of my yard and then front south part of my yard, and then I actually split my backyard up into different sections as well. What you do with the app is it turns itself into a little remote control, and you'll drive the mower to wherever you want to start the perimeter of your mowing zone, and then go ahead, drive it around that boundary so that the mower gets a lay of the land and figures out where it needs to mow. And then when it gets back to where you started, it'll actually tell you the mower's back to or very close to where it started. Do you want to close out this area? And when you say yes, it's now designated that as a mowing area. It does take a little time to initially map out your yard, but then the cool thing is once all that information is saved, you can tell the mower that you want it to mow all the zones or all the areas of your yard or just specific sections. It's smart enough to not only go to those areas to start mowing, but then it will automatically lay out different rows so that it can start cutting. So in addition to your mowing areas, you can set up no-go zones, and these are areas inside your yard that you don't want the mower to cut, such as we have a garden area in our backyard, or if you have like patches of trees, you can map those as no-go zones, and that's essentially telling the mower that you don't want it to collide with those areas. To allow the mower to travel from one cutting area to another cutting area, you have to establish passages, and those allow the mower to get from one mowing zone to another. You can create a passage between each one of the mowing zones wherever you want, and this is the path that the mower is going to take to get from one section of your lawn to another. The cool thing is you don't necessarily have to put the charging station in a mowing area. You can put it pretty much anywhere, so not only outside, but inside, say, a place like your garage. And then if you do that, you establish a recharge path, and as long as your garage door is open, the mower is going to take that recharge path when it goes back to the charging station to charge itself back up. So this is cool in the sense that if you don't want to store the thing outside and you want it to be stored in your garage, or if you've got a shed or someplace that it can drive to, it's got to be somewhat of a level area with your lawn that you're mowing. You can store it in those areas, and you don't have to have it in the mowing area like some of the other mowers that are out there, that it has to be within those boundaries. When you have your yard mapped out, it's as easy as tapping the start button, and the mower is going to start cutting the different sections. It automatically figures out how to cut straight lines. Another really cool feature about this mower, it's not bouncing around like a Roomba or like the previous mowers that I've had, where essentially it's not cutting straight lines, it's just staying within that specified boundary area. This mower is smart enough where it will cut in rows. You can even go into the mower settings and have it cut so that it does a cross pattern. It'll cut rows one way. When it finishes with that, it then will cut in the completely opposite directions so that you get a beautiful cut when it's finished. The app is also really cool when using this mower, because not only can you see information such as how long it's been cutting, how much of the battery is still left before it's going to charge, but it also shows you a layout of the area that it's cutting, and you can see in real time as it updates where it's at with cutting whatever section of your yard it's cutting. Very cool and very helpful trying to figure out what's happening with the mower. The mower itself is smart enough to send itself back to the charging station if it needs to charge back up, but you also have the ability where you can pause mowing, or you can completely stop the mower from mowing its task right in the app. If you choose to pause it, and even if you send it back home, maybe you don't want it running while you've left the house or something, and you send it back to recharge and you leave it there, it is going to ask you when you try to restart cutting that particular area if you want it to start completely over, or it's smart enough to know exactly where it left off, and if you say yes, you want it to pick back up, it'll drive itself over to right where it stopped or paused itself before, pick itself back up. So I've been very impressed with the obstacle avoidance and maneuvering of this mower. Unfortunately, one fault that I had is in setting up the mowing zones, I have it going around our fire pit, which has this landscape brick, and then pea gravel on the inside, which our seating sits on. I had it mow so that the wheel would actually try to go right on the landscape brick. And in doing that, unfortunately, when it would come around, sometimes the wheel would actually slip inside of the landscape brick onto the pea gravel, get itself stuck, and then it was not able to get itself out. It would trigger an error mode, and I'd have to come out and manually move it. The cool thing about the software in the app is I was able to go back, edit that mowing zone, and I actually moved the boundary out a little bit. So instead of it trying to run over the landscape brick, I now have it go on the grassy area, and now it has not run into that problem since I modified the map. Being able to modify the mowing zone maps in this software of the app for the mower is awesome. You can use that for many different features. If I was going to add, say, a tent out here or something, and I didn't want the thing to cut, that area that it normally cuts, I can just add that no mowing zone or modify some of the boundaries and stuff. And being able to do that essentially at any time makes it so much easier using this mower. You might ask why I had it trying to run over the landscape brick. I was having it do that so that it would fully cut this grass going right up to the brick. Now that I've had to modify that boundary, unfortunately there's a small strip of grass going around my fire pit area that does not get mowed. The trade-off was if I tried to have it do that, then the mower might get stuck. Now that I've modified that boundary, there's that strip of uncut grass. I will have to go back at some point and trim this area with a hand trimmer. But still, for the amount of yard that I have, having it be able to cut the rest of that automatically is amazing. So this is the main dashboard of the app, and at the bottom, you've even got, in addition to all your controls here of starting it, having it send back to the recharge area, at the bottom you can tap on manual. That's going to put it in manual navigation mode or manual mowing mode. And I'm going to turn this sideways, and essentially then this gives me a virtual joystick going forward, backward, and left and right, where I can just drive this thing around like an RC car. There's even a mowing motor switch up at the top, and if I were to flip that, it'll start the blades up and it'll start cutting, and I can actually maneuver the thing. So if we go forward, and then I want this to turn, let's go ahead and kind of drive this thing around just like an RC car. I'm driving around in real time the mower. This is actually how I was able to map out the areas, but just on the fly, if you just want a certain, functionality or controllability of the mower, and you're like, I just want to manually drive this thing around and mow my lawn, you've got that capability with this mower. So cool. Also at the bottom are the mowing settings, and if I go ahead and tap into that, you can do this for all zones or just a customized zone. And if I go ahead and hit the little pencil to edit it, you'll see that at the top I've actually got different mowing modes, and I can go ahead and bring this down, and you'll see here that I've got daily, strong, tall grass, and custom. And daily is going to do different row cutting. Strong is going to do a cross pattern cutting, where essentially it's going to do rows, and then it's going to go back to where it started, and perpendicular to those rows do some more rows and do like a cross pattern. We've also got tall grass and custom, and you'll notice that with each one of these mowing modes, they have different widths for cutting. So daily is 23, strong is 18, so a little bit of a thinner cutting area. Tall grass and custom, we have 25 and 23. The different cutting patterns, And then we also have the mowing speed, which is going to vary from 0.35 to 0.30. You can also adjust the mowing height. And when I started, I actually started it up at 85 millimeters, and now I've brought it down to about 70, which I've found is a good cutting height. I can change the mowing angle. The angle is the angle between the charging station's exit direction and the direction of the mowing path that you want to set. You've also got settings here for obstacle avoidance height, and then cutter head rotation speed. You can adjust that as well. So at the top of this, you've got 3 dots, and essentially this gives you options here where you can do map adjustment, where you can add more mowing areas, add more no cutting areas, do all sorts of different editing with your mowing zones. Device sharing, I could share this with, say, my wife, so that if she wanted to also use this mower on her phone, she'd have that capability. You can share it with family members. Device settings, so device settings, there's all sorts of different things you can do. You can have it work on rainy days if you want to turn that switch on. Patch mowing, if the lawnmower misses some areas, it'll go back and try and recut those areas. Visual obstacle avoidance, again, just kind of playing around with settings with that. Crossing route, so as it goes in between the different mowing areas, you can either have it cross at the nearest crossing or along the boundary, so you kind of choose what you want. Edge mowing modes, manual task priority mode, so if it's scheduled to do something and you want to take a manual and do something like a certain area, that will take priority. Obstacle avoidance along edging, and then if you want to turn the Hookii indicator on or off, you've got all those different basically customizability functions in those settings. So the mower only uses GPS for location accuracy. It doesn't actually use it for the mowing itself. If the mower were to get stolen, you can actually track where it is. It'll show you its location in the app. So handling slopes, I don't have too many slopes in our yard, but we do have a slight hill in our backyard, as well as a slight hill by the road in our front yard. And the mower is able to handle both of those hills just fine. The mower is able to handle slopes up to 24 degrees. Take a second right now, smash that like button if you're finding this video helpful or if you're just enjoying it. The mower is smart enough to know that it'll go around any objects that may be left in the yard, so any tools or toys that you may have laying around, even if they're in the regular mowing areas, the mower is going to detect those before it runs into them. It's going to slow down a little bit. It's going to try and figure out how it can go around those. I actually did a test where I just stood right in front of the thing while it was cutting, and the mower was smart enough to slow down when it got close to me and then wound up going around me. So this is very convenient. It's also gone around fallen branches and things in my yard as I've been testing it. And the app is very user-friendly in the sense that you can schedule days and even mowing times that you want the mower to essentially start itself up and cut either certain areas of your lawn or your entire lawn, so that you don't even have to think about it. It's going to go off on its own and start cutting your lawn. Now I want to mention, as opposed to a traditional gas-powered lawnmower, this thing makes just about no noise. Really, the only noise you hear is a slight whirring noise from the wheels that are turning, as well as the blades touching the grass, cutting the actual grass itself. But from even standing a couple of feet away, you really can't hear the thing. So I suppose this thing could cut at night. It could cut really early in the morning. It's not necessarily going to disturb your neighbors. There's virtually no noise from this thing cutting, making it a great alternative to a gas-powered lawnmower. So I did want to show you guys a quick example of, on the right side here, the area of my lawn that has been mowed, and then this area here that hasn't been mowed yet. You can see the difference in height. Now, a couple of days ago, I had the mower do this section, and you'll notice that you can still kind of see some of the rows from it. This time when I'm having it cut, I'm having it do the cross pattern. So it will mow one direction, and then when it finishes all those rows, it'll actually go perpendicular and mow in the kind of perpendicular direction, giving it the cross pattern. Essentially, you're going to get a cut that looks like this, which in my opinion is a fantastic cut. I think our yard looks amazing. What's my final verdict on this mower? I will say this is not a cheap mower. Right now this thing is priced at roughly $2,600. I will leave links down in the video description if you want to check out more information on this mower. But I think that the LiDAR technology, the camera technology, the obstacle avoidance technology of this mower is phenomenal. The fact that you can set this thing up, typically in minutes, and get cutting with this thing, not having to bury any type of boundary wire, not having to set up any type of RTK station so that it can pinpoint itself, and just the ease of use of it, being able to map the areas out, being able to see all the real updates in the app. This technology to me is a game changer. From looking at its performance on my yard, I think the thing cuts beautifully. I think it is such a time saver when I look at how much time it has saved me from having to be able to go out and cut the lawn. This thing just does it automatically, freeing up my time so I can do something else. You have to weigh that into the cost of this mower. It's been really cool for me to be able to see the mower stop, head back home to charge back up, and then pick up right where it left off as far as cutting, and the nice straight lines that this mower makes as compared to like the previous automowers I've had that would just bounce around the yard, makes this a very professional, gives it a very professional look as far as cutting our lawn. Overall, I'm extremely happy using this auto mower. I would highly recommend this to you. Using the app has been extremely easy. Setup was extremely easy, and it's been very pleasant watching this thing cut my lawn and really not having to worry about it. Now, the thing has gotten stuck a couple of times, and usually if it would get stuck somewhere, I would try to figure out if there was just something laying on the lawn, like a large branch or something, or if it was a mapping error where I got it too close to like some of the landscaping bricks, and I would just readjust that. But aside from that, it's been a great experience using this mower. So I'm interested to know, what are your thoughts about this auto mower? Let me know down in the comments section below. You can definitely check out any of the other weekly videos I do on this channel. I've done all sorts of different review videos on different yard tools and equipment. So if you do need other things such as string trimmers, chainsaws, things like that, you can check out some of those videos. They'll probably be popping up here at the end of this video as well. My name is Jeff, and I do appreciate you guys watching. If you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell, you'll never miss any of my weekly videos. As always, be sure to make every day awesome. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video.